I use an application called Screencastify. And how many of you have ever used Screencastify before? Anybody? It's also free. What it does is on any device like a MacBook or a Chromebook or Windows desktop, whatever, it will record your screen. It'll also record your document camera. It'll record from your webcam, and it'll allow you to show people how to do different things. So it's a great free tool to use. So I can't encourage the use enough there. So again, that's called Screencastify, and it automatically saves to your Google Drive, right? So there's another cool feature about that. So I'm going to minimize this, and then we're going to go into Google Drive. Let's see. Go into Google Drive, and then we're going to open up a Google Drawing. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of how it works, and then we'll get into some tips and tricks as well. So first of all, I don't know what Google Drawing did to deserve to be pushed down at the bottom. They're sort of, excommunicated, but if you click New, they've been kicked off the list. They used to have a lot of screen real estate right up top here. So if I click New, and I'm being impatient here, try and click it again. If I click New, they used to be right under Google Forms and Google everything else. Now they've been moved over to More. Okay, so clearly they did something wrong. They're super sorry about it, but they still have a place on the Google team. If you go ahead and click More, eventually, as soon as the internet loads up for us here, it's going to load up. And then you can see Google Drawings is one of those options there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Google Drawings, and we'll get started. Okay, so funny thing about Google Drawings, how many of you have used a graphic design program before, like Photoshop or Microsoft Paint or some sort of painting application on your device? Yes? Have ever used one on purpose? Yes? Give me kind of a look. I'm like, maybe on accident one time in college, green eggs and ham, I don't remember the best, So the deal is, this program is kind of like one of those graphic design drawing programs, except it's on steroids, okay? So how I'm going to show you it's on steroids, it has some of the coolest features built in that you might not know about. I'm going to show those off today. So the first thing I'm going to do is every document that I start, I always name it. It's just good practice, right? So at the very top, I'm going to click on Name. And if this is your first Google Drawing, we might as well call it My First Google Drawing. Except I've done this program probably 137 times, so I'm going to call it 138. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and call this My First Google Drawing. And then over here on the side, I've got a very good projector, or very good screen here. If you can see this pattern, you see what this pattern is? It's a checkerboard, right? Whenever you see a checkerboard pattern, here's what I want you to remember. Transparency, okay? Because in the world of graphic design and imaging and different things like that, whenever you see that checkerboard, that's an indication that you're going to put an object on there and the background is transparent. So I'm going to get into more on that today, but just remember that's what that means, all right? So the next thing is across the top of the screen here, we've got this row. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit there. And that row across the top of the screen, the very first one is called the Select tool. And so Google Drawing is an object-oriented program, meaning everything that you insert or create within the program, it's an object. And you can use this Select tool to click on it, okay? So notice it says ESC right next to that. Right next to that. Does anybody know what that means? Educational Service Center? No, escape. That's what that means, yes. So anytime you've clicked on an object, right, and you think, I want to move it around, I want to edit it, something like that, you can always hit the escape key and it'll go back to that select tool. So that's just a keyboard shortcut, all right? The next one over is the line tool. Then you've got a shape tool, a text tool, an insert a picture tool. There's a toolbar across the top that's very similar to Word, right? And maybe even PowerPoint, how you can insert and do different things up there. So the one I'm going to focus on right now is called the shape tool. And so the first thing that we're going to do, and you can follow along with me, is we're going to insert a shape. And I'm going to click on this tool, and then let's go ahead and choose, I don't know, this weird looking snip single corner rectangle, right? Just for the heck of it. And I'm just going to draw an object just like that. So as soon as I click and hold and then let go, that draws the object, right? Just like you would click, select, highlight something, anything like that. Just like Publisher, PowerPoint, any of those other tools that you've used, you're inserting an object. But what makes this cool is we can manipulate and edit the objects. And when you select the object, that menu bar across the top, it's dynamic. So it changes based on what object you've selected. So I'm going to go ahead and you see I don't have the object selected, and I'm going to click on it now. Now my menu bar changes. You can see across the top, I have the ability to fill a color, change the border line around it, change the thickness of the line. I can change the font, right? If I wanted to just double click on this and type inside that box, that's the font that I'm going to get. I can change the font size, whether it's bold, underlined. I can link, I can insert a comment. I can do all that crazy stuff. The thing that I want to do is insert a color. Okay, so already it's like this weird looking blue color, right? I think it's the color of my bathroom at home. I'd have to check with the missus, but it's super close to that, right? I think I'm going to go ahead and change it to orange because that's going to show up really nice on this monitor, all right? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert an object over top of it, sort of on the corner. And the reason I want to do this is I want to show you some of the features of why I call this program on steroids, right? So I'm going to go back. We're going to click on shape again, and let's choose the circle, the oval, sorry. Click on the oval, and from this time I'm going to go from the bottom up, and I'm just going to overlap it just a little bit like that. And the reason being is I want that oval to be overlapping that chipped away square thing, right? Now the reason I want to do that is I want to show that these are different objects. Sometimes when you draw objects, that just merges into one picture, these are objects that you can move around. They're not connected. So what makes this program awesome is you can actually change the transparency of the object. Okay, so that's something a lot of graphic design programs that are free at Microsoft or Paint don't have the capability to do that. So how I would do that, I'm going to go up top to where it says fill color, and I'm going to click on the triangle, or I'm just going to click on it again, and I'm going to go down to the word custom down here at the bottom. So as soon as I click on custom, I get this little menu that pops up. And do you see that little hashtag, that pound, and then a weird number? Does anybody know what that is? Code? Close. It's not the Matrix. Wait, I got a red pill here for you one now. All right, so it's not code. It kind of is code. It's called hexadecimal. All right? So a bunch of nerds, a lot smarter than me, sat down and they decided to name all the colors in the world that the computer could display, right? There are 65 million colors. And instead of calling them orange 1, orange 2, orange 3, which is clearly what I would have done, right? They came up with this weird pattern of letters and numbers, okay? And it ranges from 6 to 8, right? So each one of those colors has a specific code called hexadecimal, right? So that specific number right there is that specific color. So why am I telling you this other than to bore you? Because I'm going to show off a tool at the very end that's going to allow you to copy the exact color that you're looking for, right? How many times have you been looking on a website and you're uploading something, you're doing something, and you want to match that color to make it look nice and pretty and the same, right? Does that ever happen? Nobody else is a graphic designer, just me? Okay, so happens to me all the time, and I want to match that exact same color, right? So maybe it's the orange of your school building or red of Ohio State, whatever you want to do, we can grab that exact same color because every color in the world has a number associated with it, all right? Boring little side trip, but we'll show that at the end. What I'm going to do here with this menu, though, is I'm going to grab the right side of that, and I'm going to lower this little menu. Now, notice when I do that, that hexadecimal value changes, right? And as soon as I lower it and I hit OK, see what I did? Made it transparent. So you can sort of see through that object behind it, and then you can see the background too. So just part of the cool design elements of how this program works. Now, why is that important now? It's not important now, but I just wanted to show it off. I'm going to show something else that will help you out with that later. So what I want to do, though, is because these are object-oriented, I want to be able to move them around on top and bottom of each other. All right. So I'm going to click on this orange clipped square thingy, and then I'm going to right click. And how many of you have Chrome devices? None of you? All right. How many of you have Macs? The rest of you? All right. How do you right click on a Mac? Control and you click with the mouse, right? So when you right click on a Mac by hitting, is it Control or Command? Control, right? So you hit Control and click. So what happens when you do that is you get this menu that pops up. So from this menu, you can cut, copy, paste, edit the text. What I want to do is click on the order. All right. So I want to bring this to the front. And if I bring it to the front, now that object is in front of that circle. Okay. So as we start to add elements to our design, that's just one thing I want you to keep in mind is you can take these objects and you can move them around and you can manipulate them. Okay. So that's the boring part of how this works. Let's get into the fun part. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought we were going to have to go around and check for pulses. All right. So here's the deal. I'm going to get rid of that weird looking transparent circle. And I think what I want to do, just to be fun, is let's make a header, right, for the top of our documents, right? Because so often, right, we want to do a newsletter or something like that where at the top of the page, we want it branded, right? Make it look nice. This is Mr. Griff-Tastic's classroom. This is so-and-so newspaper, volume number 2, something like that. We're establishing a brand at the top. This is just one example of many that we could come up with, but this one's the fun one, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this orange, right? And I'm going to click on the object again. And notice when I click on the object, I get a bounding box, right? That means that's the box that allows you to manipulate the object. So I'm going to click on the corner. I'm going to drag it up like that. And so what I want to do is, a header looks pretty nice if you have a logo up there and maybe a name, something like that. So let's grab an image, right? One of the places I like to go to get clip art as a graphic designer is a website called softicons.com. Okay, so let's open up a new tab and go to softicons.com. So I went to hardicons.com one time, not recommended. Yeah, do not go there, right? So softicons.com is for, somebody finally got that going. All right, so softicons.com is a website that allows you to preview icons. It's something graphic designers use so they don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? They can find something that they need to use and insert that into a document. I use this all the time when I make help documents for teachers and students, and I need to find the Google Drive logo, an Internet Explorer logo, arrows, icons, different things like that. But they also have fun icons, things like minions. Are you guys aware of the minions? Yes? Okay. So I'm going to search for minions. I'm going to type in minion and click search. And so, hey, they have fun little graphic images of minions. Isn't that fun and cute? Don't you just love it? Yes. Okay. So the one that is speaking to me right now is the angry minion. Okay. So I'm going to click on the angry minion, and you can see that there are different sizes of him. Okay. You can choose any one of them that you want, but make sure it's an object that has a transparent background. And I'll show you how to determine whether or not it has a transparent background here in a second. So I happen to search for the minion. And I know this has a transparent background because when I grab the minion and I move him around, you notice what's happening? You can sort of see the background there, right? So the nice thing about that is if I insert this with a picture, insert this onto a picture where the background is transparent, the background's going to bleed through. It's going to look a lot more professional, right? So I need to get this image of this minion off of this page onto my first Google drawing. There's 3 different ways to do that, and I'm going to show you 2 of them today. The easiest, absolute easiest way is to just right-click and go to Copy Image, okay? So right-click, Copy Image, and then you click back over to my first Google drawing. You right-click again, or Command and click, and then you hit Paste. So isn't that cute? Now notice when I move the minion over, he's got that orange background, right? Did everybody do that? You want me to do it again? Let's go back. All right. So I'm on the angry minion, right? Notice when I move him around, I want to right click or hit control and click and copy. Now I just want to copy the image. You guys have that option, copy image? Yep. I copy the image. Then we're going to go back over to my first Google drawing, right? And then you're going to command and click again, and then you're going to hit paste. You can also go up to the top and hit edit and paste, and then that little minion guy appears right there. Did everybody do that? Isn't that fun? Don't minions make you smile even though this one's angry? Yes. All right, so let's look at what this would look like if the image wasn't transparent. Okay, so I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to Google, and I'm just going to type in angry minion. Okay, because I want to try and find that very same image. Images for angry minion. Yeah, he looks pretty angry. Let's use this one, though. So I'm going to click on this one. Whoops. I'm going to click on this one. Now, what's the difference between this minion that I clicked on and the minion that I clicked on a few minutes ago? The background is not transparent. In fact, it has this white background around it, right? Now, how do I know it has that white background? Because if it was transparent, I would see that checkerboard pattern. So watch what happens when I click and move this guy around. I'm going to click and move him around. Notice that white background follows me, right? And now here's another neat trick that you can do with Google, right? If I have this image and I want to get him back over to my Google drawing, I just go up to the top of the screen, I hover over, and then I place it right there. Ooh, do you see that? Can't do that typically, all right? Now, the funny thing is, this one website called softicons.com, you can't do that. And that's because it's set up for graphic designers to move the image around, right? So the only way you can borrow an image off of that one, through fair use, of course, is by right-clicking on it and copying the image. Or you can click on it and download it, all right? So there's a couple of different ways to do it. But again, jumping back over to this one, notice that this guy has that white background on there, right? So if I were to move that minion over there, see how it doesn't look the same? It's got that white background. I want this to look cool. I want that to pop out. So that's why I want to find a transparent background, all right? So the key to that is when you're searching for images that have transparent background, you want to find the ones that look like this. You see this right here, this little file extension? It says PNG. So whenever you search for an image, you can add PNG after it, and that will typically mean it's transparent. So there are two types of images that are like that, PNG and .gif. Okay, so both of those images have transparency. Typically, the pictures you take off your phone, like if you look on my wife's Facebook page, there's a picture of Liz and I in a selfie from the last class. That picture is a JPEG. Okay, so those are typically the pictures you take off the phone. Those don't have transparent backgrounds. Okay, so that's the difference. I want to search for that. But there's another tip when you're searching for images. Let's say, oh, that's why it says angry minion. All right. So if I was searching for an angry minion, right, I could go back to Google, and if I wanted to find one that's transparent, I can go to Tools, and then down to down to Color, and then I can change this to transparent. And Google is going to filter out all the pictures of minions and find the one that's transparent. And if I click on this picture, I can tell it's transparent because of what? The checkerboard background, right? So if I click and drag on this guy, I can see, yep, he's got a transparent background. I can move him over there. It'll insert that image. It's a big minion, all right? Minimize there. Just like that. Okay. So that's how that works. So if I'm going for a really neat design or something like that, I can start to find those transparent images. Okay. So examples, and other than a header that you're doing this, what I like to do is the lesson I teach students is in a reading class or language arts class, they need to make a timeline of events, right? So a book they're reading, something like that, they're able to Google search and find characters. They'll draw a line, and then they'll insert images of those characters or events. Okay, so from that, they can build a timeline in Google Drawing. So it's a pretty neat tool there. So just one example, right? So I want to make a header, though, and I think I'm going to clean this up. Now, I need to insert some text up at the top, right? Because that's what headers have. They typically have text up at the top, and I want it to say Mr. Griftastic. So up at the top, I'm going to go here and click on text box, and I can just click and drag and type in Mr. Griftastic. Oops, and it's not writing at all. Maybe it is. Mr. Griftastic. All right, and I can notice when I click on this menu, the options change. I can go down here to the font. I can change the font to something cooler, right? I can make it bold, italics, underline, whatever. And I can move this around, but that's not cool enough, right? I need to ooh and awe you, because I don't think I'm doing enough of that lately. This is a bad relationship, and I need to work on that, all right? So to ooh and awe you, I need to find a website that has cool text, all right? So if I was a website, I was going to provide cool text. What I call it? Cooltext.com. That's a good idea. Let's go there. All right, so I'm going to go to cooltext.com. Now, important safety tip, Egon, when you are demoing this to your students or peers, right, as you will, you'll go back and say, look what this tech guy showed me, right? This website utilizes cookies, right? Not the kind from Girl Scouts, unfortunately. The bad kind, all right? So as a tech director, I often have to click on links from students. And it has different content on there, right? And things that I'm not proud of, but I had to click on it and I had to look at it because it's my stinking job, right? So the deal is they look at information in your cookies and will produce ads on either side of the page. The worst one was, it was a Kotex and a Trojan ad that popped up as I'm demoing. I'm like, long story, I don't want to talk about it, but what I would suggest is if you are going to demo this, make sure your cookies are clean. Ask your technology department for some assistance before demonstrating that. Luckily, I was, searching for food, so Kroger's popped up. All right, so this website is a time vampire. So this is a fair warning. How this works is, this is some cool text that you can grab and then insert as pictures, okay? So I'm going to use the one that has Keen because it has all the options I want to show you. All right, so, but if you hover over all of these, you'll search for different options. Some of them are transparent, some of them are not. I'm using Keen because it shows everything, okay? So how this works, I actually want to type Mr. Griftastic in there. Whoops. Mr. Griftastic. Okay. And so I type Mr. Griftastic, and immediately the text is converted. Okay, does everybody see that? Now I can adjust the font size by clicking up down here, right? And if I want to adjust the text or the font, I can click right here. But again, fair warning, as your tech dealer today, first one's free, right? This one is going to suck the time from you because you have millions and millions of fonts that you can choose from, right? And if I were to choose and try out any one of these fonts just by clicking and adjusting, it's going to go back and it's going to convert it. It'll take a second there. So I can choose all of these different fonts. I can find the one that I like. I don't like that one. That's dumb, right? And it's just going to take a long time. So I would choose one that you like. It's not dumb. It's like 2 dumb runs in a row. Just lower the font a little bit. There we go. Right? Choose one that you like and stick with it. You can change the color. You can add some shadow. You can do a lot of cool things. So I want to get this graphic off of this website. How can I do that? I can click and hold on it, and I can move it around. It has the same properties of Google image search. So I can drag and drop and highlight over that tab at the top, and then just drop it right down in there. And then it's going to insert that object. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this text. So what happens is, here's what can accidentally happen, and this is kind of frustrating. I can drag this up, and I can drop it into there, and it'll do this, right? Did anybody get that? Where it just takes the thing? Okay, that's, I don't want to say premature unclicking, but it happens sometimes, I'm told. What it is you're clicking and holding, and then you want to highlight and hover over there. Don't laugh, it only encourages me, right? I've been told, right? Hovering over that, and then you want to release, bad word, you want to let go right in the center of the Google drawing, right there, and then that will insert the document. Insert the image right there in the center, okay? So that's how that works. So if you're having difficulty dragging and dropping and letting go, the way to do that is to not let go until you get it into the very center of the document. But the document's gone twice now. So it's not gone. It's actually in your Google Drive. If you go back to your Google Drive and you click on Recent, is this witchcraft? No? It's right there? Yeah. So what happens is, if you accidentally drop it into your Google Drawing, it opens up and then it looks like your Google Drawing went away. That's not actually what happened. It's back there. You just need to hit the back button and you're good to go. Okay. So 2 more things, and then we got to get. I'm going to click and I'm going to change this background here. We'll go with green, maybe. Right? That makes it stick out. So notice I can start to adjust this. Right? And again, this is something you can continue to play with. Let this, design and draw this. I'm going to click the very bottom too, and I'm going to adjust the size. All right, so that's more fits the header, right? Now, how do I get this onto a Google Drawing, right? That's the question. What I want to do is I want to highlight and copy everything that's on there. I'm going to go to Edit, and then Web Clipboard, and Copy Shapes. This is the only way to do it. And again, this is being recorded. You can go back to that video and watch me do it again. I'm going to copy this shape, and then I'm going to go back to a document. I'm going to hit Enter a couple of times, and then I'm going to go to Edit, Web Clipboard, and then I'm going to hit Shapes and insert it right there. So I can easily insert a picture, a diagram, or a document, a mind map, a graph, a grid, whatever I want into a Google Drawing by doing that. All right, so it's a very easy way to do that. Again, if you're lost or confused, you can always shoot me a message on Twitter. I can help you out and do a quick video, and slowly. I have more time to do this. Or you can watch this video, which is, again, being recorded. I'm going to insert it. You can see right here on the website, here is the first session. So I'm going to insert the second session and the third session so you can watch them over again. So I didn't get a chance to talk about the eyedropper. We ran out of time, but I did in the very first session. Okay, so if you want to learn about how that works, watch that session and it'll work out. So I've got negative 12 seconds to answer a question. So do you have any questions? No? All right, well, thank you very much. I apologize I had to go so quick, but there's only so many one-liners I can insert in a 45-minute period. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks to everybody else. You have about 10 minutes to get to your last session, all right? Have a great afternoon. Thank you.